those books. Those books will stand you in really good stead and give you some practical tools, relationship tools that will help you in your future relationship together. I would take a couple into this huge arena, this big foreseeable issue that they're going to have to deal with, and most, particularly men, are not usually equipped to deal with very well at all. This is the area of communication. And what we're going to see as we approach the wedding day, as we come up to the final week of the wedding, we introduce the fifth and most intimate level of communication. But we start off discussing the first three in particular, the first three levels of communication. Because we all communicate at various levels with different people, and quite possibly today in this very digital age, where we either just share everything or share nothing, thank you very much Facebook, we have actually depleted our ability to relate to people very well at all. And so I want to talk about what we might call some old-fashioned analog relating, analogical relating. Now what I mean by that is, if you can imagine an old radio that had a dial and you dialed up the volume or you tuned it in with the tuner. Not these days. These days we have push buttons that go to precisely the frequency, and we have buttons up, buttons down for the volume. But in the old days, we could dial up the volume and we could tune in the frequency. Well, I think communication is much like that. At level one communication, we have what we might call, and Dr. Gary Smalley calls, cliches. These cliches are necessary. They're a vital part of communication. We should communicate in cliches. So for example, we're going through the supermarket and the checkout operator says, "How was your day?" You may have had an absolutely horrendous day. You may have had all manner of things go wrong with your day. That person in that context at that time is not the right person, right place, right time to tell them exactly what's happened in your day. What are you going to tell them? You're going to use a cliche. Fine, thanks. Have you been busy? Yes, yeah, been busy. What you been up to? Not much. All of these are just cliches, and we use them all the time. How are you going? Great, thanks. And as I said, that may not be the true picture. And it's not that you're being deceptive, it's that you're being polite. And polite is a part of living in a civil society. So we use cliches all the time. The next level of communication, when you know someone a bit better, some of those variables might change. What if that checkout operator is a good friend of yours? And you may have not necessarily the right time, not necessarily the right place, but it's the right person to be able to share a little bit more information about yourself. So, how are you? And you may have an ache. You may have, "Oh gee, today I've just been really battling with a bit of a backache," or whatever it is. And they might respond more or less with a bit of a cliche, "Oh, that's no good. Sorry to hear that." And that's fine. That's a perfectly acceptable part of civil society. When you know someone a little bit better, you actually communicate a little bit deeper. And a fact is a little bit deeper than a cliche. Not much deeper, but it's a little bit deeper than a cliche. It's quite possible to move in a relationship from very shallow to a little bit deeper, from cliches to facts, pretty quickly with someone, especially if you're at a function, at a party or a dinner party or some event or something like that, and you're having a chat, a talk with them. You can do that. The next level of communication is where conflict begins, and this is where the wall of conflict is encountered. It's when we begin to share opinions. When we share opinions, we often butt up against someone else's counter opinion, and that's where conflict happens. In the next video, I want to talk about that, because this is a foreseeable challenge for any marriage, that there's going to be conflict. And we're going to see that when this happens, this inevitably will happen, that there's a way to deal with this kind of conflict. And that's